What's up, guys? Welcome to another video guide brought to you by none other than myself. Today we're going to be looking at a build which I call the Zerg Basher because it bashes Zergs, and it's what the Koreans have been doing for a while. You open with any opening and then you go into a 4-gas attack. Today we're going to be looking into a DT opening, going into a 4-gas attack, which should kill Zergs that are too greedy, not good enough, or actually just those two things. So should be fun. Let's hop into it. A lot of the DT openers that we've seen lately are either with a very fast scout or with no scout at all, but this one is going to go for a more regular gateway scout. So you just send your probe to your natural to build the pylon, send it back to pretend and get some minerals, and go out to build a gateway and scout with the probe that just built the gateway. What we're going to be looking for, of course, is there any kind of hatchery over here? What is the pool timing? And we always want to confirm a third base as well and see if any links and how many links leave their base once their pool is finished. So as we're playing against an easy AI, we're not going to be paying too much attention to that, but yeah, that's just what the scouting probe is for. At home, we're following this up with a 17 assimilator. So 14 pylon, 16 gate, 17 assimilator. We'll go into the standard 20 Nexus opener. This is the most standard, most common build there is for Protoss in general, and especially in the PvZ and PvT matchup. This build is extremely common. If you don't know this build, learn it. You should know it. Of course, 20 Nexus followed by 20 Cyber, into 21 assimilator and 22 pylon. Your probe is scouting, trying to find some kind of timings. Usually the natural finish is around 2 minutes, and the third base should start around 2:20, 2:30. Speed finish from a hatchery first is around 3:20 to 3:30. Sometimes a little later, sometimes a little earlier. So you want to be home with your probe and your adept around 3:30 most of the time. And you want to have it confirmed that there's a third base. So we're going to assume that everything is normal that we've scouted so far. We chrono out an adept. We start our warp gate immediately. And the moment money allows us, we're going to start a Twilight Council. See how nicely that actually lines up with the minerals and the gas. We have this adept, this warp gate, and now comes the Twilight Council. I like to chrono my first adept and my first stalker. The first stalker chrono can help deny any kind of overlord scout, and it can also help against any kind of ling run by. Be sure to rally that stalker in this area, otherwise your stalker will walk across the map into the arms of some speed links, and that's of course something that you don't want to happen. So after we build the stalker, we chrono that. We build our robotics facility. Once again, look at that, the mineral gas count right now, 35 and 7 only. So extremely tight build order. Be sure to throw down these buildings as soon as you can, once money allows it. Now, you can decide to put an extra chrono boost on your natural. I like to not do that most of the time. Oh, in this case I actually did. Oops. And then once your Twilight Council finishes and you get 150 gas, you should throw down the Dark Shrine as soon as possible. And from here on out, this is where it gets interesting. So we get our Dark Shrine. And what we want to do, we want to create a probe cut at 38 out of 46 supply with 2 gateway units. And then we throw down our 2 extra gateways on this. Now this is a probe cut, so be very aware of it. You can't continuously produce probes. So these 2 probes that I'm building right now will have to be cancelled, which is what I'll do. I'll go back to 38 out of 46 before I build my 2 gateways. There we go. And then start the prism, which I'll chrono boost. And then I start my next round of probes. After I start my round of probes, it is very common to see people build these 2 probes and you're like, oh my god, I'm about to be supply blocked. I'm 42 out of 46 supply. Let me just throw down a pylon. No, not yet. What we need first is to get our 2 assimilators. And as we're not really building any units except for the prism, we're not actually going to get supply blocked at all. So we build our 2 assimilators, then start another round of probes. So we'll be at 44 out of 46. And then we build our pylon. So here's our third pylon, only now, very late into the game. This is very, very important for the build order. Otherwise, you're going to be lacking gas for your first warp in of DTs. Please do not build your third pylon too early. It is a very tight build order. And it is very important that you execute it correctly. So, once your gases finish up, you actually want to be throwing the guys in there as soon as possible. So, you want 500 gas. You need 500 gas, 500 minerals to be able to warp in 4 DTs at once. So our prism is making its way across the map. We're changing the gateways into warp gates, or well, happens automatically these days. And then around 4:30, this is the time when you should be hitting with a gate scout. This is probably the fastest timing you can hit as well with a gate scout. So this is really the number you should be aiming for. Practice this build a couple of times against the AI. See how it goes. If you're not hitting close enough, keep trying. There will be a replay that I post down below, so be sure to have a look at that as well. So make sure you first try against the AI before taking it to a real game, so you kind of have a feel for the build. Now, what we want to be doing with those DTs is, if possible, we want to snipe the third base. If the third base is defended with a spore and there's a couple of units, see how many units we can kill. However, the priority with these DTs is to not let them die. So if we want to trade 3 roaches for 1 DT? No, probably not. We actually don't want to do that, because these 3 DTs, we want to turn into 2 archons later, and they're going to be very helpful at clearing the creep and basically paving the way for our push, which is going to be off of 4 gas and 3 bases. So please do not lose any of the DTs. If you're scared, just go back. You'll learn over time to kind of see how well DTs can fight. Like, if you play this build 20-30 times perhaps, you will know what kind of fights to take and what fights not to take. Also, please never lose the prism. If you feel like something is risky, don't go in there. It's better to preserve your units than to lose them trying to kill a spore or trying to kill 1 extra drone. Just play it safe with these, as these DTs are really your lifeline. It's what keeps him on his side of the map. So we're doing some damage here, blah, 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 blah. As we're doing that, we start getting our third base. This should go down around 4:55, 5 minutes. We send 1 adept there to try and secure it in case there's 1 or 2 links. If there are more links, just wait a little bit until your next warp in, and warp in 2-3 zealots, then go again at it. In case everything goes perfect, what we do next is we start our observer. We chrono boost that, and we rally it on our prism. At the same time, we're making our 4 DTs into archons. And we start a forge. Notice that I'm still on 45 probes. So I haven't been producing probes at all during this time. And you shouldn't, as this is going to be a rather low probe count push. Now, the first units that we build, once our gates are available, is 2 sentries. We can build them at the third base. We can warp them in at the natural as well for extra safety. If you see a lot of links, sometimes I like to build them at the natural. Once our observer finishes, we start an immortal. And we chrono boost it as well. Observer flying across the map. With these 2 archons, if we can do damage to units or to drones, we want to be doing that. If, however, we don't feel completely safe or solid in doing that, just be content with killing creep, as that will really help our push later on, which will occur in about a minute or 2 from now. Around 7 minutes we want to hit. So try to clear as much creep as possible together with that observer that we're rallying across the map. Now, after we build our first immortal, we start our probes again, but very non-committal. We don't chrono our nexuses anymore. We're just going to be chronoing our upgrades, primarily the forge and the robotics facility. We don't really need anything else. So, the moment your forge finishes, it's very important to start your +1 immediately, as the charge upgrade actually takes less long than your +1 upgrade. So always try to give the priority to your forge. Chrono boost it once or twice as well, and you should be able to get a proper timing with that. Well, just micro your little heart out with your archon. At around 51 probes, And after starting your second immortal, you want to start adding gates. Now, you add them 2 by 2 is what I do most of the time. In this case, I add them kind of fast behind each other. So 4 gates at once. We start our third immortal. And we start adding more sentries. We want to go up to 5 or 6 sentries, maybe even 7 with this kind of push. After we added the gateways, by the way, be sure to have plenty of pylons going down, as you're going to be very close to being supply stuck. But don't create too many probes. We might go up to 54, 55 probes, but not much higher at all. Once our third immortal finishes, this is going to be the cue to start walking across the map. Once again, this is also one of the reasons why not losing this prism is so important, because you really need it to hit a tight timing. If this prism is dead, you'll need to wait for another prism, and it's annoying. Maybe he will be setting up some counter attacks over here, which you will need to deal with. If your prism is on his side of the map, it will be way easier for you to move out and to reinforce and to hit a tighter timing, of course. So we get those 8 gateways, we get our upgrades going. Our third immortal joins the fray. Hopefully we still have the observer, so if there's some creep left, we can kill this as well at this point. And we just start warping in. Now we in a very conservative way, we start probing. So 1 or 2 probes when we can afford it. If all of our gates are on cooldown, we might want to add 1 or 2 probes. However, if we can warp in units, we don't want to be building probes at all, because units have priority over probes at this case. We're not going to take our gases either at our third base. Look at that. So we have a decent probe count. We have decent mineral income actually. 2.5, 2.4, maybe 2.6 when we get fully saturated. But we're not taking those gases. So we can really assure that we have all of our money into our army and reinforcing with those 8 gateways. Now the goal with this push is of course to try and kill your opponent. But sometimes it doesn't work out. In that case, try to save your immortals. And take the gases. Most of the time, at least you'll be able to do some kind of damage. Or kill them, obviously. Well, this is a build or a playstyle that a lot of the Koreans have been using. And I figured I'd make a little guide on it. So, you guys can copy it as well. And have your luck with it on the ladder. So, I hope you enjoyed it. If not, be sure to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Leave a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you do enjoy the guides and the other things that I post here. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.